The collapse of the West Coast sardine population is just one example of how people can affect marine ecosystems. Overfishing caused the sardine population to collapse, which put people out of work, caused food prices to rise, and hurt other marine species that depend on sardines for food. But it isn't just a story of sardines. Here in Crystal Cove, we saw our abalone population collapse due to overcollection by the people living here. The answer isn't just as simple as putting limits on how many fish we can take from the ocean. Marine protected areas take an ecosystem-first approach to protecting marine life by creating underwater parks. Instead of simply putting limits on how much we can take from the ocean, MPAs limit where we can fish or collect animals from. The idea behind this is that if a fish and other marine species are provided a safe, protected place to reproduce, feed, and grow, the population will spill over into other areas, replenishing the ocean as a whole. For most of our history, California had underwater parks, but the original system was very haphazard and confusing. Regulations differed a lot from place to place, and it wasn't necessarily part of a bigger system. In 1999, the California legislature recognized the need to standardize the system and safeguard the long-term health of our marine ecosystem. To do so, they passed the Marine Life Protection Act, which is also abbreviated as the MLPA. Under the MLPA, California established a network of protected areas along our coastline with the goal of protecting and conserving marine life and habitat. The state finished up setting up this coastal network of MPAs in 2012, creating over 120 underwater sanctuaries along California coast that extend from Oregon to Mexico. Throughout California, there are several different types of MPAs. Here in Orange County, we have state marine reserves and state marine conservation areas. If you look at the map, you'll see that in Orange County, there's a state marine reserve in Laguna Beach. In state marine reserves like this, the marine ecosystem within the reserve is protected from fishing. Recreation is allowed, but no take, collection, or fishing of any kind is allowed in the ocean or in the tide pools. The coast of Crystal Cove State Park is part of the Crystal Cove State Marine Conservation Area. A state marine conservation area is an MPA designated that has fewer restrictions than other types of MPAs. In our state marine conservation area, there is no collection of any animals living within the tide pool habitat, but limiting fishing is allowed. MPAs are really interesting because they represent an intersection between science, government policy, and community needs. As a result, before we start thinking about how to protect Crystal Cove SMCA in particular, it's worth to take some time to really investigate your questions about them and help explore them further. Your task now will be to divide back into your research teams and brainstorm what questions you have about MPAs. Afterwards, I'll introduce you to a research technique called lateral reading, which you'll use to find online resources to help answer your questions.